Welcome back, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here at the 2023 Florida Audio International Expo. We have here, introduce yourself.
I'm Isaac Markowitz, a Director of Sales and Marketing for Acora Acoustics.
And I'm Valerio Acora, CEO of Acora Acoustics.
All right. So today I have a brand new design, the Acora Acoustic VRC. Okay, this is their new flagship, recently released. First time you guys show it here in the US, right?
Absolutely. We love Florida so much. We love this show. And we decided to bring it out here as a release candidate. It's actually not going to be fully released till Expona.
Till Expona.
Oh, you know what, Jay? I knew you were going to be here.
All right, there you go.
Something special.
So this is, yes, you did. So I know we connected last year at Capitol Audio Fest, and you had a different speaker. You were releasing a new floor stander in white color, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes.
And so that was a special piece. And we had a conversation behind the scenes about what that next step looked for you guys, right?
Yes.
And we had several ideas that we threw around behind closed doors. And of course, little did I know that you were just about ready to release the beast that's here. Okay. So why don't you walk us through this monster and tell us a little bit about the speaker?
Absolutely. So Valerio's current magnum opus, the VRC1, weighs in between 400 and 430 pounds, depending upon the type of granite that you might specify. Now, in addition to a pair of the 12-inch bass drivers that you see, 5-inch mid-ranges, 35-millimeter tweeter, because we care about that stuff, the hallmarks of Valerio's designs are still present in this speaker. This is still mathematically perfect. What is a mathematically perfect loudspeaker?
Sorry.
You might be able to deadlift it. I think maybe you could.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that's so fascinating about talking to people is why do these only weigh 400 pounds when we know that there are other speakers made of less dense material like HDF, MDF, different types of wood, even aluminum, that weigh 600, 800 pounds? Well, the reason is because the structure of the cabinet itself allows it to do everything that's necessary without any bracing. So we're able to use the entirety of the internal volume of this cabinet. So we're talking about nearly 5 cubic feet, which is how we get passive extension to 18 cycles linearly. So this speaker is flat in room to 18 cycles, which means you'll have useful output at 14 cycles, which is the lowest pedal tone on a traditional organ. So for pipe organ enthusiasts, for EDM enthusiasts, and space enthusiasts, people who want to feel the room, we really need those low frequencies because it helps our brains to understand the shape and the size of the room where the recording happened originally. Now, like other designs that Valerio has implemented before, these are proprietarily modified drivers. So each of these are really designed specifically for the use within this particular enclosure. Right, because Valerio has thought so much about what granite does. So granite isn't just an amazing inert material. It has a unique advantage in terms of giving acoustic reinforcement to the drivers themselves. So that means that we get to do really interesting things designed by Valerio, such as reducing the mass of drivers in unique ways. So we get to have more explosive acceleration, that transient response that really makes real music feel real. It's the stuff that makes your goosebumps go up, your hair on end.
Okay, so to be clear, the drivers that are utilized here are not the same drivers from the other models. This is exclusive drivers for this particular model, correct? Yes. And I know the efficiency, you said it was like 96, 97 dBs?
We're officially going to put them at 95 dB, so it's clean. Okay. We have varying impedance on any speaker.
Right.
So, I mean, it's measured at 1 kilohertz, it's measured at 2.83 volts. So, realistically, yes. But, to be conservative, as I do with all our designs, 94 to 95 dB efficiency.
Okay, great. So you can power these with, what's the minimum wattage that you...
We are most likely on Sunday here going to bring in a VAC 170 ISE, 80 watts channel
80 watts per channel.
And you'll see it's going to drive this room just
no problem. Now, is this the most efficient design you have right now in your life?
Yes.
And why do you think this is actually something that you wanted to do for the flagship, but not necessarily for the earlier models as far as the efficiency rating.
Efficiency is always a great thing, Jay. It
Okay.
means you need less amplifier power.
Correct.
It's like lightning, making a car lighter. You need less motor to go the same acceleration.
Right.
The reality is we were able to gain this efficiency because of the multi-driver design.
Got you.
It was something I would love to make a 150 dB efficient speaker. It's physically not possible with having the extended range. So I mean, it's the physics behind the speaker design. These are capable of that kind of output because of the driver complement that's there.
Speaking of drivers, let's talk about the drivers that you're utilizing, the size of the drivers, the material, all of that.
Mhm. So just like we have done in previous designs that Valerio works with partners such as ScanSpeak and others in order to source bass drivers, he experiments with those bass drivers to see if they work in concept, runs computational models, and even builds crossovers to see what they sound like. Once he has an understanding of what the bass driver is capable of, he then goes back to the manufacturer in most cases to ask for small, subtle modifications that are useful for Acora. So we hear about all this sensitivity. So there are things that we get to do, we get to ask for, that Valerio gets to work with ScanSpeak and others to try to lighten the mass of the drivers in really unique ways. And again, that's where a lot of that explosiveness comes from. So we're looking at 4 paper cone drivers. Why paper? I get this all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me too. I get that all the time.
Cell and carbon fiber. Well, what's the oldest material known to man, created by man in existence today? Papyrus. When we think about some of the materials that we wrote on millennia ago, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls from 6,000 years. We have papyrus from 10,000 years. It turns out that paper is incredibly durable. In fact, it turns out that there are redwood trees that are thousands of years old. And for anybody who's ever cut their fingers on cardboard, we forget that paper isn't really as soft as we like to think. The other benefit is it's a natural material, which means it's randomized. There is no way to make carbon fiber truly random because we have to build machines that lay it out. And so that loss of randomization also means that the driver doesn't breathe quite as naturally. So sticking with these materials means you great sensitivity, you also get great musical expression, and we also have a driver that's really, really resilient because, again, papyrus and other paper materials have been around for thousands of years.
What size drivers?
So we're looking at 5-inch mid-ranges, 12-inch mid-bass drivers, and a approximately 34 millimeter tweeter. And that one is going to be beryllium.
Beryllium tweeter, 34 millimeter. Wow. Okay.
It is. It's an unusual size, so it's a larger tweeter than we typically see. Yep. And Valerio chose that specifically because of its ability to mate with these particular mid-range drivers and to make sure that we could get the extension between them so that they mated really seamlessly. As Valerio said before, it isn't just sensitivity, right? It's great when we can get that, but so much of his design ideals are how easily can the speaker be driven. And so he is confined or thinking a lot about how do I make the impedance relatively the same everywhere, and the driver complements help him to do that along with the crossover design.
Okay, so one of the most interesting aspects of this speaker when I heard it, and you guys should have seen that video by now, if not, please refer back to my video from this speaker when I basically gave a live narration or narrative of the speaker as I was listening to it, okay? And we did this last night. And you guys had a tremendous amount of feedback as far as what you guys were able to hear. And of course, the feedback that you were getting from those that attended the show. I would say that the biggest thing is the ease and the effortlessness of the speaker is one of the things that stood out to me, okay, when I was listening to it at any volume level. Never got bright, which I have to commend you on that, because one of my biggest problems, and I will say it here, has been speakers that make me want to walk out of the room after 30 minutes of listening. And there are a few of those in here. Just like at any other show, you'll find them. So for me, I want to stay glued to the chair, planted. Now, I understand that volume up to a certain point will eventually fatigue you, whether it's smooth, bright, you name it, because it is still a lot of decibels. So it's loud no matter what, right? But I'm saying this speaker at any volume level was very pleasant. Assuming, of course, that we have the proper material, because it is a very transparent speaker, but that's no fault of the speaker itself. So when I was listening to the speaker, I sat there, bass was there, huge soundstage, and most importantly, they fill this room like no other. Like, this is a huge room, barely treated, and the bass, the impact is there for me. When I first saw them, I'm like, I hope they can hang in this room,
Right.
and it was just no problem. So I can say that this is capable of filling. I mean, this room, to be honest with you, even with some of the biggest loudspeakers that are very, very mainstream that we know, I think a lot of those speakers would struggle in this room, personally speaking. And you have no subs anywhere, and we're using VAC, which are amazing amplifiers, I must say. So everything for me was there, right? So I was very, very pleasantly surprised. Now, the biggest question comes. I have to ask it because my audience will want to know. Price, let's go.
Great question. So we are looking at a couple of granites as our standard configuration. So what you see here is a blue GT Pearl granite. We'll also use our narrow assoluto granite, which is the black granite that you've seen before.
I love it. Yeah.
And honestly, I like it myself. In fact, clients have reached out to us to share, like, if they're art collectors, fascinatingly, the black seems to be the preferred color because of how it throws light into the room. So it's fascinating that black seems to be the art collector's piece. But in these pieces, we're looking at about $218,000, $220,000 in this configuration. But we have the opportunity for those clients who really want something special. Maybe you have a great countertop that means a lot to you. With the right opportunity, the right lead time, we can even go out and source unique granites for those types of clients so that they can have a piece unique for themselves that matches their decor. And so depending upon what they're looking for, that could be a little bit different, but it gives that client the opportunity to find something totally special and unique just to them.
So any color, you can customize them essentially to
As long as the granite exists in the world and there aren't too many fractures within the seams, because some really beautiful granites are really about the inclusions. It's the imperfections that make us unique and beautiful, and I think the same is true for natural stone. So as long as we adhere to certain guidelines that Valerio has to make sure work, because when we're cutting this material, any of those inclusions, if they're really big, you can crack it. So we would want to work with that client to find something special, but we've already looked at gold mother of pearl. We have looked at things that look like abalone, labradorite, and things like that. So we could do gemstone quality loudspeakers if that's what somebody was looking for.
Great. So a lot of options, guys. Do not feel afraid to ask Valerio and his team what are the possibilities when it comes to the finish of the speaker. And I like to know that definitely you guys are willing to accommodate any customers.
Absolutely.
All right, so the time has come. Do you guys want to know from me, is this the best speaker at this show? And the answer is yes. I believe this is the best cost no object speaker. You guys have spoken on the video that I posted earlier. The comments speak for themselves. I believe, money being no object, this is the best speaker of the show. So I congratulate you for that. I will definitely
thank you so
handshake
much.
you and give you absolutely great job with this.
Thank you.
First time out.
Appreciate it.
I've never done this before.
Humbling.
So I am giving it 100% the best speaker at this show. I have heard enough. I actually went through all the rooms today and I sat extensively, and I'm telling you, when I keep coming back in here, it's just next level. There's no way to describe it. So stay tuned for more, guys. I will have another room, which will be a room that is not a cost no object room, but you guys will be able to have a second option, my personal option, okay? So that's all I have for tonight. Take care and please subscribe. Peace. Bye for now.